Imagine living in a place where night can last for months, where the cold is so intense it freezes your breath, and every meal depends on hunting in ice-covered seas. Now, imagine that in this very place there exists an ancient and controversial tradition, sharing wives with visitors as a sign of trust and hospitality. This is the world of the Inuit, the people of the ice, who have survived for thousands of years in the heart of the Arctic, defying hunger, cold, and time itself, with customs that continue to surprise and intrigue to this day. The Arctic, with its vast ice plains and frozen seas, is home to the Inuit, historically known as Eskimos. Today, these people stand between tradition and modernity, living in one of the most extreme regions on Earth, spread across Canada, Greenland, Alaska, and Siberia. Around 160,000 strong, they have faced temperatures as low as minus 40 degrees Celsius and endured months of darkness for thousands of years. The Inuit are, at their core, a testament to human resilience. Their survival comes not only from physical strength, but from cultural and social adaptation to an unforgiving environment. Unlike other peoples who turned to agriculture, the Inuit specialized in hunting and fishing, mastering the art of drawing everything they needed from the ice and sea. Throughout history, they have transformed ice, animal skins, and bones into survival tools, building homes, clothing, and boats perfectly designed to withstand the Arctic's fury. The word Inuit means the people. Over time, however, they were also called Eskimos, a term many consider offensive since it means eaters of raw meat in the Algonquian language. Today, they prefer the name Inuit or local designations such as Yupik and Inupiat. It is under these names that they recognize themselves as guardians of a culture that has endured across generations. More than just hunters of the ice, the Inuit carry with them the stories of a unique way of life, where family, spirituality, and survival are deeply intertwined. One of their most controversial and curious traditions is the practice of wife-sharing with visitors, an ancestral way of reinforcing social bonds and securing alliances. But before diving into this delicate subject, it is essential to explore the layers of everyday Inuit life. Life in the Arctic demands creativity to endure temperatures that can drop below minus 40 degrees Celsius. The Inuit developed shelters adapted to each season. In winter, the famous snow igloos were used as temporary dwellings during hunting expeditions. Built with carefully cut blocks of snow, they stayed warm inside thanks to the natural insulation of ice. This works because snow is not a solid block of ice, but rather a structure filled with tiny air pockets trapped between the crystals. That air acts as a natural insulator, preventing the outside cold from penetrating with the same intensity into the shelter. When an Inuit family lit a seal oil lamp inside the igloo, the heat was retained by the snow walls, creating a much more comfortable internal temperature. While outside the wind chill could reach minus 40 degrees Celsius, inside it was possible to keep the environment around 0 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius. For those living on the ice, that difference was enough to turn a temporary shelter into a true refuge of survival. In addition, the entrance of the igloo was built as a low, narrow tunnel. This design caused the colder, heavier air to remain near the ground, while the warmer air circulated in the living space, preserving the heat where the family rested. In summer, seal or caribou skin tents were erected, allowing mobility to follow migrating animals. The Inuit diet has always depended on local resources. Because the Arctic has extreme climates and very limited vegetation, their food is predominantly made up of animal proteins and fats. Seals are essential, providing meat, fat, and skins. The fat serves as a high-calorie energy source, fuel for lamps, and even a natural remedy against the intense cold. Whales, walruses, and caribou are also staples of the diet, while fish and birds complete the menu, eaten fresh, frozen, dried, or fermented. Inuit communities also consume organs like liver and heart and fresh blood from hunted animals, rich in iron and vitamins. Nothing is wasted. Bones are turned into tools, skins into clothing and tents, and oil provides light during the endless polar nights. To survive in extreme temperatures, the Inuit developed clothing made from double layers of caribou hide, sewn together with sinew threads. These garments not only keep the body warm, but also allow mobility for hunting. Their boots, called kameks, made from animal skins, protect feet from snow and are waterproof. Every piece of clothing is carefully crafted by women, who pass down sewing techniques from generation to generation. In the heart of the Arctic, where sunlight reflects intensely off the snow and ice, the Inuit developed an ingenious accessory: snow goggles. Unlike modern eyewear, they were made from natural materials such as bone, walrus ivory, caribou antler, or even wood. The design was simple yet highly functional: a small piece carved to fit the face with a narrow horizontal slits in place of lenses. These slits reduced the amount of light entering the eyes and protected against a phenomenon known as snow blindness, caused by the strong reflection of sunlight on the frozen surface. Moving across vast snow-covered lands requires ingenuity. Dog sleds, known as kamutik, are a symbol of Inuit culture. These dogs were not just transportation, but loyal companions, vital for long hunting trips and for carrying heavy loads. On frozen seas, the Inuit relied on their famous kayaks and umiaks, boats made from wooden frames covered with skins that allowed them to move silently across icy waters in search of seals and whales. Life in the Arctic is not possible alone. Community is the foundation of survival. Families join together in groups, sharing responsibilities. While men go out to hunt, women take care of clothing, children, and food preparation. Sharing is the rule. A successful hunt is divided among everyone, ensuring no one goes hungry. This solidarity builds deep bonds, where each member depends on the other to withstand the harshness of the environment. From an early age, children learn to hunt, fish, and move across the ice. Games like endurance challenges, races, and even practicing with miniature tools prepare them for adulthood. Learning is not only practical, but also spiritual. Stories told around the fire teach respect for nature, courage, and cleverness in the face of danger. For the Inuit, the Arctic is not just a physical territory, but also a spiritual one. Every element of nature carries an invisible force capable of influencing community life. Animals such as seals, caribou, and whales are not seen merely as food, but as beings with a spirit. Hunting them requires respect. Before each kill, rituals are performed to ask permission and give thanks for the life offered. Ancestors also play an important role in daily life. Many believe their spirits remain close, protecting families and hunters on their journeys. Giving a child the name of a deceased relative is a way of honoring this continuity, reinforcing the idea that life is a cycle that never truly ends. Mythical narratives shape the Inuit worldview. Tales of gods and iceborne creatures are told during the long winter nights, passing down values such as courage, solidarity, and respect for nature. One of the most well-known legends is that of the goddess Sedna, guardian of the sea and marine animals. She is believed to control abundance or scarcity in hunting, and rituals are performed to appease her when the community faces hunger. Inuit spirituality is deeply tied to the practice of sustainability. They believe that if an animal is hunted disrespectfully, its spirit may take revenge by driving other animals away from the region. For this reason, nothing can be wasted. Every part of the animal has a purpose, whether for food, clothing, or tools. This respect ensures balance and survival, even in such a hostile environment. On the ice fields and frozen waters, there is no separation between the everyday and the spiritual. Hunting, eating, keeping warm, and protecting against the cold are also sacred acts. For the Inuit, living in the Arctic means living in constant dialogue with greater unseen forces that determine whether life will be abundant or marked by scarcity. Marriage among the Inuit is much more than the union of two people. It is a way to strengthen ties between families and ensure survival in a hostile environment. In many communities, marriages were arranged early on, designed to unite groups and secure mutual support during times of scarcity. Loyalty between families was just as important as the love between husband and wife. Women hold a central place in family life. They care for the home, the clothing, the children, and also take part in preparing the food obtained from hunts. Their skill in sewing animal skin clothing and keeping the family warm was often as vital as the men's hunting. Because of this, a woman's value within the community went far beyond the domestic sphere. She was the guardian of life on the ice. One of the most controversial aspects of Inuit culture is the practice of sharing wives with visitors. This custom, known in some regions as sexual hospitality, carried different meanings. In certain contexts, it was seen as a gesture of welcome, a way to honor and strengthen alliances with hunters or travelers. In others, it represented mutual trust between families, allowing the visitor to temporarily become part of the community. Although, in the eyes of other cultures, this practice may seem strange or shocking, within Inuit society, it was understood as an act of generosity and survival. In such extreme environments, alliances meant protection. Sharing wives was a way to consolidate those bonds, building relationships of trust and solidarity in a land where every life mattered. With greater contact with the Western world and the influence of Christianity, this practice gradually faded from many communities. Today, it is rarely found, but it still lives on in oral memory and the stories passed down by elders as part of Inuit cultural identity. In the end, the sharing of wives cannot be viewed in isolation, but rather as a reflection of a society that learned to survive under unimaginable conditions, where the collective came before the individual. Intimacy shared in this way was less about pleasure and more about security, reciprocity, and hospitality. The greatest challenge the Inuit face today is the rapid transformation of the Arctic. The ice, which has always been the foundation of their survival, is melting at an alarming rate. Hunting seals and walruses, traditional sources of food and hides, has become increasingly difficult. Areas that were once reliable hunting grounds on thick ice sheets are now unpredictable stretches of open water. This change affects not only their diet, but also the entire cultural structure built around snow and frozen seas. Beyond the climate crisis, modernity is pressing in more strongly each year. In Inuit villages, cell phones, internet, and televisions are now common. Many young people are more drawn to urban lifestyles than to the traditional hunting and fishing practices that sustained their ancestors. This creates a generational clash. Elders struggle to pass down ancient knowledge, while younger generations look for new opportunities in distant cities. With outside influences, social problems have also grown. Alcoholism is one of the most serious issues, leading to domestic violence and weakening traditional bonds. Suicide rates among Inuit youth are alarmingly high, reflecting a deep identity crisis, the feeling of being caught between two worlds, the traditional and the modern, without fully belonging to either. Despite the challenges, the Inuit people fight to keep their heritage alive. Schools teach traditional languages, like Inuktitut, and encourage children to practice ancestral arts, from throat singing to crafting clothing made of animal skins. Cultural festivals celebrate dances, music, and ancient stories, strengthening their collective identity. Inuit leaders have also gained political ground. Today, there are organizations defending territorial rights, pushing back against the impact of oil and gas exploration in the Arctic, and demanding global action against climate change. The voice of the Inuit has become a symbol of resistance for all indigenous peoples facing the threats of modernity and environmental destruction. For the Inuit, survival has never been just about enduring the cold. It's about creating culture, spirituality, and community in the heart of one of the harshest environments on Earth. Even though some traditions have faded over time, they remain powerful symbols of a rich history, showing how unity among families and groups was vital to withstand the Arctic's unforgiving conditions. And now the question is, would you have the courage to live in a place where the cold sets the rules and still follow ancestral codes like sharing your wife with another man? Leave your answer in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and share this video with anyone who loves discovering different cultures. Here, we'll keep exploring the stories of peoples who challenge time and nature to survive.